Oh my goodness, hi, I'm Tam, the TamBoTC channel. We're using Monstrum, sadly, as the background because I was going to... So first off, my PlayStation is the only one that can record my audio because my frickin' Elgato hates me recording commentary and video game without things flipping out like crazy. Oh my goodness, there's some frames. So I'm hoping that this will work better than that. So finicky. And yeah, I need to play some more Monstrum anyway. I actually beat this my first try on Xbox, but I still need to beat it on my PlayStation. So yeah, I'm going to be reviewing Halo Infinite and Security Breach today. This is the Halo Infinite video, though, sadly, because, I can't record my Xbox. But there is gameplay on my channel of me playing the game. You can watch it whenever. It has no commentary, and it is of the entire campaign. I might do some multiplayer videos in the future, and this video might seem a little... what's the word I'm looking for? You know what? I wanna search this floor first. So let's talk about the campaign first, shall we? So getting into the campaign of Halo Infinite, I want to talk about the story, the gameplay, and the graphics, and so on. So let's start with the graphics. They're okay. They're not bad, but I wouldn't say that they're perfect or amazing or anything. They're serviceable. The music is good, but it works more like Zelda. Sometimes the music will be non-existent, though, too. There will be a lot of quieter moments. And there are still glitches, but I am pretty happy that the game is mostly polished when it comes to the campaign and such. I do like that you can use the grappling hook ability is pretty cool, even though Doom does have a grappling hook ability. But I love that like the entire game's got a good like playground kind of feel to it. Like you got your own Halo playground, and it's kind of like it's kind of like paying homage to the what is that? Why'd that glow for a second? It glue again. I'm Jeff Goldblum blowing it up again. So, okay. Fine. Be that way. See if I care. Let me open this just in case. But when it comes to the campaign, like there's only like a couple of music and soundtrack that were actually good. And, like, the theme song is great, but it's, like, can I have some new Halo music, please? But, yeah, it's not bad music. It's just, can I have some new music from time to time? And they do use the music appropriately, the theme song. I do like it. The sound design is serviceable. There's nothing wrong with the sound design. Maybe a couple of times where it's kind of goes a little silent, but I haven't had that happen much, so not much going on there. And then there is, I don't know if I want to pick that up. There is the gunplay is really solid. I think the gunplay is great. It is very similar to Halo 5, the kind of aim down the sights, you can slide and all that stuff. A lot of games are doing that nowadays. My goodness, look at this render distance, by the way. Uh-oh. Here, close that just in case. And, was I already? Yeah, I was in this room. Did I check these? I don't know if I checked these. So, I thought that the gameplay was really good. The grappling hook, it is really cool that where in older Halo games you could kind of you could glitch out of the map and find some ridiculous places to break the borders into, or break out of boundaries. And like the entirety of using the grappling hook and finding some cool Easter eggs and stuff is like like the entire game is like a way of saying you can go out of the boundaries and places that like the game was meant for you to go into, to explore. And that's pretty cool. I like that. You can probably practically, oh great, I'm backward. Okay. You can practically go wherever. You know, I'm probably fine with staying in here for a little bit. Oh. Yeah, it's pretty cool that I can oh my gosh. He reached through the wall at me. Yeah, when it comes to Halo Infinite's gameplay, it is solid. It's fun. I'm sorry if I'm saying a lot. It's a it and you're not gonna use a lot of the abilities. Like the grappling hook's the only one. Like there's been abilities in Halo games before, but you're not gonna find yourself using a lot of these abilities. There's like a strafe kind of dodge ability. There's like a temporary shield that you can put up, stuff like that. But you're not going to use those. Like you're gonna forget those exist most of the time. Even I forgot to like they existed most of the time. I relied on the grappling hook because it was the most fun part. I think the only other ability you're going to use is one that reveals where an invisible enemy will be, that like highlights them for you, and it does kind of water down and make some of those invisible boss fights a little easier, probably too easy. So, and I do love that there are boss fights. The AI is really intelligent. Frickin' grunts are hilarious. Love them. And their dialogue. And there's plenty of variety in the enemy types. There are a couple enemies I don't care about. Like, I don't... Ooh, fuse already. And we got a note as well. There's a couple of enemies. There's like this flying type of enemy. Like, I don't really care for. They're kind of annoying. But at least they don't outlast their stay. Don't out... Whatever. You know what I'm trying to say. But, yeah, at least they're not there to spoil or ruin your day. I wonder what monster I get this time. I actually found that I think that while I can hear this guy, by the way, I think he's actually the hardest now that I played this, because the guy I beat was actually the floating dude on my first try. I was like, once you realize you can just use corners to run around, I think it's the big guy again because there's frickin' blood spatters. Though it could be the floating guy. Why can't I pick up this note? Frickin' note frickin' hates me. Yeah, I can't pick it up. Let's follow the blood, shall we? But with... You know what? No, I don't want to follow the blood. So when it comes to... Okay, that's just flickering because it hates me. When it comes to the campaign, I want to talk about more like the characters and story. Just know that I do love this campaign, but I might rant a bit, and especially in the multiplayer part, because there's a lot to talk about there. And the campaign, I want to talk about some of the story stuff and the characters once again. So, there's the villain, Ishram or something. He's freaking boring as hell. Like, his audio logs are just him obsessing over Atriox. Atriox should have been a main villain. There's some interesting things that they don't finish the story, and it doesn't feel satisfying, if I'm being honest. As well as there's another more powerful threat. Like, how many times have we already seen that happen before? Like, that's been done to death. Where it's like, oh, there's a more powerful threat than the previous threat that Master Chief has taken on, and it's just like, come on. The villain is just not very memorable. There's the characters, like the weapon is fine, but it's like 50-50 if you're going to like the humor that she has. A lot of hers are the typical quirky lines that you'd hear from other quirky characters. It's like sometimes she'll have a good joke, other times it's like it completely goes over your head and you forget it. She's like a 50-50 character, but being it's Jen Taylor, I don't mind her character, and it is cool to see them reunited, even though they also have a... Whoa, what the hell's going on? Oh, it's a frickin' chair. But they do have, like, a moment that's like another kind of stereotype situation, and or not stereotype, whatever the word is, for when there's a breakup in a movie, like the characters don't get along for a bit and then they just happen to get along by the end. I think it's the... Yeah. Wait a minute, is that the same? Yeah, because the other lights aren't freaking out like that. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think there's just lights freaking out. I have a feeling it might be the hunter. Or is it the lurker? I can't remember what he's called. Why can't I get these? But when it comes to it, and there's the pilot dude. The pilot dude is freaking an asshole.
So now I'm just waiting on Chekhov getting here before we can start making our way back up the ship. Oh yeah, before I forget, he said one of the boss's containers exploded.
Shut up. And when it comes to the pilot is more annoying and angry throughout the game than he is actually a good character. Because by the end, he does somewhat, like, they try to make him relatable, they try to make him, like, nicer by the end, but since there are a lot of scripted, like, if you haven't finished a lot of the side areas in the open world, there's a lot of scripted things, he's just gonna go back to his scripted way of being an asshole again. He's not gonna be what he was at the end, and if they don't do anything that redeems his character, makes him nicer the next game, or shows that he changed in the next game, then I'm going to be... And it's just too short-lived anyways, because, like, even if you do end up... You're just way too easily impressed
to the captain just like,
if you think his character isn't that bad by the end, because his character is freaking annoying, and you're going to say, shut the hell up a lot.
That's him. I gotta go.
But yeah, he's just not a fun character. Whoops. I did not know there was a camera. It's Floaty Man. Yep, it's Floaty Man. Okay. I thought it was going to be the hunter, it's Floaty Man. Whatever the hell Floaty Man was called. Just gonna call him Floaty Man. So, when it comes to the characters, there's a lot of mischaracters. So I want to bring this up. This game actually... Now, once again, I don't hate this game. This game actually reminds me a lot of... Oh, he's here. Of Halo 4. Because it's very, like... Like, Halo 4 has a lot more room to mess up. It's got a lot more characters. It's got a lot more moments in the story, and it's got a lot going on in the story in general. More in the forefront and the background. When trying to, like... That's another thing I hate about the recent Halos, and even this Halo does it, where it expects you to know the books and the lore and such, which is freaking stupid. This Halo still does it. Like, how did we get to the moment that we are? And I'm gonna wait till the lights and such stop flickering and all that before I move. So when we get to the next point, like, how did we get from point A to point fricking Z? Like, what happened between 5 and Infinite? And they do use plot points in the game from Infinite that I just don't care about, and just feel like they're there to at least wrap up that fricking game. But I felt like, oh, I don't care about those parts at the same time as I'm just like, what happened? So I'm both uncaring, but I also want to know, how they wrap it up, and it doesn't feel satisfying knowing that Atriox isn't the main villain, by the way. He's in the very beginning, so freaking sucks. The boss battle of whatever the hell his name is, Craig, is definitely not bad, but there should be more like cool set pieces, kind of like we had with the Hydra, or the Scarab, or like some of the crazy flying sections and stuff. Because there's cool set pieces and such. Feels like the vehicles are very durable, like easy to explode and such, unless it's just like the enemies are freaking ridiculous or something. Oh, I'm definitely gonna die. I think he's still... Yeah, he's still lingering. Unless that's the light. Because that light's not freaking out. I hate the render distance. It is awful. Oh, I still hear him. Yeah, I still hear him. But those lights right there aren't flickering. Oh, well, that's a new light. I haven't seen one of those rounded lights before. What is that? Oh, I hear him, though. But yeah, like, there's more to mess up in Halo 4 because there's more going on, but I still felt like Halo 4's story was conclusive and, like, good for the most part. They did a good enough job. Now, Master Chief does have a lot of quotes that reference previous Halos, but he's got nothing that, like, stands out or is memorable. You're not going to remember any of the lines other than oh, that's nostalgic, he said that in so-and-so Halo. Like, you're not going to remember it for this Halo. You're going to remember it for the previous Halo. So there's no, like, memorable lines either. And there's almost nothing that, like, solidifies itself as being iconic or memorable in this Halo. Like, you're not going to remember most of this stuff. The level layouts, too. Like, the levels get repetitive. So, they have a lot of samey, like, Covenant-looking gray hallways and crap. Is he still here? Those would be flickering, I would think. See those things up there? He's still freaking here. My gosh. Oh, is he outside the window? Maybe he's outside the window. Oh, he's definitely here. He's definitely here. But when it comes to it, man, I hate freaking having to hide. I'm closing that on you. But yeah, when I'm gonna probably try to go for whatever escape I get the next item from. It might end up being the submarine. That's like the hardest one in my opinion. So yeah, none of the characters, yeah, he's here. None of the characters are very memorable. Except for Master Chief and the weapon. But yeah, like, and I want to bring up that while the new group, whatever the hell they called themselves, I don't even know what they called themselves because it's that memorable, but that's nothing new either. Like, the whole, like, there's a new powerful threat, we've seen that done before, like, too much, but that whole, like, there's a new group of, like, the equivalent of the Covenant, it's hard not to see them as the Covenant because they're made up of the same enemies, they got similar look to them. Like, the only difference is they don't have prophets, but they still have, like, a leader that is somewhat similar to how the prophets ruled. Just more powerful. And that they're like, a different alien race from everything else amongst their group, too. But, like, the problem is, we've seen this done before, and my friends don't have as much experience, and that's why they're as easily impressed as they are by the lore and stuff. But like, we've had Gears of War with the Locusts, and then they became the Swarm, and it's like they're supposed to be different. No, it's the same dudes. It's just a different leader, and oh, you put more lore or like different lore that somebody's gonna get fascinated by. It's like, no. And then you got even you can even take the Empire going to the Order in the Star Wars movies. It's like, what? So, how? How are you still freaking alive? Master Chief killed so many dudes. The same situations there. And it's like story beats like that. There's nothing like newer that's wowing me with this story. And most of like the lore, I have to fricking go outside of the game to experience it, or play another game to experience it, like Halo Wars 2. Like, what the hell? And that doesn't even play like a Halo game, so now you're just taken out of the Halo experience in that case. When is this asshole gonna go away? I might just let him kill me if he doesn't stop lingering. Frack.
So now I'm just waiting on Chekhov getting here before we can
What
start making our way
why
back
can't I
up.
run?
So now I'm just waiting on Chekhov getting here before we can start making our way back up the ship.
What's that?
Oh yeah, before I forget, he said one of the boss's containers exploded. Like, completely burst open. Can imagine him speaking to the captain just like, oh...
Anyway. But yeah, like, there's nothing it does do with its story. I'm just gonna let this play, why not?
The vessel is in danger, or something like that.
That is freaking loud, by the way. I hope you can hear me
go.
fine for the most part. That was bad. Well, now I'm hiding again. Good, because I get to talk more. But, just know that I had fun with the campaign. I thought that it was fun. I do think another problem, other than, like, the stricter levels that are meant for the typical, the campaign, because they're more linear and you can tell they wanted you to go on a straightforward campaign-ish path. There's cool Easter eggs, I do like the skulls, but the open world does feel samey after a while. It's kind of like when you look at, like, another, like, a fantasy open world where they have a snowy area, lava area, grassy green land, and a swamp. It's like, that's great variety. This is entirely, like, a greenery, and it's like, it's gonna get boring after a while. It's not all the same looking, but there are samey looking places. And it is very much like a Far Cry game. You know, you have the bases that you take over. You don't do like towers. You do destroy like those propaganda towers though. But you have a lot of similar things to how Far Cry's open world formula is. And I wouldn't say that it's great. But I will say that it's fun. I do enjoy it as a playground like sandbox that you can play around in. And once again, like, the use of the grappling hook is really cool to get up to higher areas and find secrets and stuff. There are missable skulls. There's a lot of cool things there. But I wouldn't say that it is, like, a wowing me open world. It doesn't hit that Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild wow factor. It doesn't need to, but at the same time, like, when I play so many things, and I guess my friends also don't have that experience with, like, so many Far Cry games and such. They're not as worn out by that they don't see that, so they have a different perspective on that. But that's another thing, like, I felt like I've seen way too much of. And while I still want to let you know that I don't hate Halo Infinite and its campaign, I just have, those are just things I felt like I've seen too much of, that it does weigh a little bit down on me. And yeah, I enjoyed my time. I think there's it does get samey and repetitive. It has that typical open world thing, like, setup. The music and, like, it's nothing special. Like, there's some good tracks, but, like, nothing that's wowing me or new. It doesn't, once again, it doesn't always need to be. And then there's just some of the plot points I've seen before. Will you go the hell away? There's a lot of plot points I've seen before in typical situations. I think he's coming after me. That I've seen plenty of places, such as the quirky character, some of the lines she says are hit or miss, or things we've already heard in other, like, movies and games. The whole, there's a new group or faction that's similar to the other, but not really, because the lore is different. I've seen that done before in Gears of War and Star Wars and all that crap. It's nothing new. And it's just, like, the villain isn't very good. That dude, for the majority of the game, and especially knowing the scripted parts, when he has more dialogue moments you haven't gotten through, he is still an asshole, and he's still annoying. Most of the time. Just because he has a little part where he kind of redeems himself doesn't make up entirely for the majority of his annoying freaking voice and everything he does. That does not... You would have to be super easily impressed and easily, like, forgiving. And I don't think you should be when it comes to that. Hold on, what's the lights? Okay, I think he's far enough away. Now, that camera is pissing me off. What's the run? What's the run button? Okay. Frick up. Gosh. And yeah, there just wasn't a whole lot that, like, impressed me. I went in every single room on here, deck 6. Okay. Keep that in mind. Have I been in here? Yeah, I think I've been in here. I think that's all I have to bring up about the campaign. Fun playground campaign, just nothing that wows me as new or anything. This is where I started. Yeah, nothing like wowed me. Ooh, place I haven't been. And okay, let's just jump into the multiplayer. I enjoyed myself. I can see you enjoying this campaign. It's on Game Pass. They did make it multiplayer free, and I am kind of happy that, for the most part, it is pretty well polished. Frick, I think he's coming back again. Frickin', can you leave me the hell alone? I can't tell when the lights are out in this room, but I saw the lights flickering outside the door, because the light was kind of coming through the cracks of the door. But when it comes to... I'm sorry if this video is boring, too. Like, this is kind of how this game is, and I wish I had Halo gameplay playing in the background than this. At least my FNAF video will be accurate, because it will actually have the gameplay. Oh, yeah, he's definitely here. Good thing there's lighting coming off, or reflecting off of the actual, door here. But, let's get into the multiplayer, because I feel like the multiplayer is going to freaking hurt. Like, there are things that I didn't even think about when I went into the multiplayer. At first I was like, this multiplayer is really fun, and I still think it's fun. Here's the problems, though. First off, the microtransactions. Okay, so Angry Joe has the problem with blue. I'm going to make my joke of red for freaking $5. So I'm going to be red versus his blue. Get it? Because Halo red versus... Okay, you know what? But when it comes to the microtransactions are pretty bad, and the customizations are bad. It's mostly colors, or you have to mostly buy the stuff, or really frickin' play, because the progression wasn't very good at first. It's a little bit fixed, but it's still not amazing, the progression. It's still, like... And I hate the events, too. I know they're free, but frick off the events and those challenges. Like, those take forever. Leveling is freaking ridiculous. And they've tried to fix the fricking progression system several times. I still don't think it's great, but it's certainly a little bit better than what it was. At least there's not requisition points, but the store is still absolute ass. The microtransactions are way, like, I was testing, looking through the microtransaction compared to something like Fortnite or Apex or something. It's pretty bad when you add it all up. It is pretty expensive, especially if you decide to buy the entire battle pass. Get the hell away. He's gonna be out there. But yeah, if you buy the...
So now I'm just waiting on Chekhov getting here before we can start making our way back up the ship. Oh yeah, before I forget, he said one of the boss's containers exploded. Like, completely burst open.
Why is that playing several times? I'm just gonna pause it here. The multiplayer's got a lot of problems. Like, there's not a whole lot of modes. They've added a couple, but like when you play custom, try and do custom on PC, at least originally, it was so garbage. It wouldn't let you change the map and the mode at the same time. And if the game crashed or something, or and you lost your progress, you had to start the map making all over again. And I don't see this much on the console version, but goddamn, the fact that this is happening on at all is not very great. There's not many modes. There's no playable elites, no dual wielding, no co-op for the campaign. I'm glad local is here. That's a plus. Um, and there's no forge. And this is the mentality of modern day games. And my friends have not, like, at least my friend AJ hasn't experienced many modern games to really get the hint of, like, what this is a good demonstration of the bad in modern games. But the whole finish it later thing instead of now is stupid as hell. And like, I can tell fanboys voted the crap out of Halo Infinite to win that one award. That's kind of like the player's choice at the Game Awards, because the campaign wasn't out when the voting was going on, you dumbasses. Um, the core gameplay is good, but I wouldn't say it's too much different, other than like the grappling hook and such, from Halo 5. But it is good, it goes back to the roots. And I can say you will definitely have fun with the multiplayer, but there's only 10 maps, and it can get freaking repetitive and boring after a while. And, like, you just don't... I've gotten kind of, like, bored by it. I've kind of gotten, like, exhausted. I don't know what there's a word I'm looking for, but I don't got it right now. But yeah, they just needed more time in
Imagine him speaking to the captain just like, "Oh,
I wish
Captain, the
I
vessel
wish
is in danger."
I wish I could shut that off. I don't
Or
know how to
something
shut
like
that off.
that. Oh, that's him. I gotta go.
Thank goodness it's gone. But yeah, like, I'm sorry, this is probably going to be the worst Halo Infinite review, because I can't even record Halo Infinite without not having my audio. Otherwise, it would just be Halo Infinite in the background and no talking. But know that I do have videos up, and you can watch them of Halo Infinite. But that I can't really share my thoughts, sadly, while in the moment. But yeah, it's like, I'm glad it's polished, I'm glad local has come back, but I'm not glad about a lot of this multiplayer crap. Like, it's ridiculous, it's gotten out of hand. I know I've bought my fair share of microtransactions. I actually wanted to make a video recently talking about how I'm sick of Ubisoft games. I don't feel like supporting their games lately. Not only because of some of the controversy going on with them and most companies that have this similar problem. You know the one. Activision Blizzard has it going on right now. But, yeah, like, their games, like, they're not worth it. So, yeah, just screw you, Ubisoft. But, when it comes to it, frickin' Halo Infinite is a 50-50 game, whether I'm gonna like certain things. When it came to the characters, it's 50-50 in this game. When it came to characters in previous games, it was mostly 90-10, maybe 60-40. But the fact that it is 50-50 with most of these characters, and there's not as many characters to complain about. Like, there's mostly just 4 main characters, for the most part, that will be remembered. Kind of. Like, I don't remember the pilot dude's name. And even if I did, thanks to something else, because I am working with somebody who has his similar name to his. But if I wasn't working with that person, then, I still wouldn't remember crap about him other than he's an asshole and I hate him. But yeah, like, it's just like, yeah. So I'm going to go over, like, I wish that the customizations were more in depth. Like, the fact that you have to buy them, I feel like they're going to make frickin' elites part of either an event or you have to buy them or something. And that's just like, no. There's not enough to the customization right now to warrant anything. It is very lackluster right now. I'm sure the game's rating will go up for me later. Sorry, I'm sitting in the locker most of the time. I kind of want to be killed, actually. Okay. I want to go upstairs. Kill me! Thank you. So, yeah, this... By the way, jump scare. So... Halo Infinite, for me, I do 3 ratings, but I feel like the ratings aren't going to differ much for me. That multiplayer really hurts it because it's missing so much content. They've got problems they still got to deal with, whether it be progression. The microtransactions are embarrassing. The customizations are embarrassing. Like, it's mostly just colored skins, but you're just going to have the same armor unless you pay a lot of freaking money for other actual pieces that change. And even then, there's not much to the customization. It's really lackluster. There's barely any maps, and there's just nothing that comes off as memorable or new from this game. This game does a good job with its multiplayer. It is a return to form at the same time as it's doing the same thing with that Doom did, where it feels like a fresh beginning-ish for Halo again after the mess of 5. But yeah, like, I'm sort of disappointed in that. And you know what? If I did just the campaign levels and nothing else, I think the campaign would actually be almost as short as Halo 5's campaign, which kind of sucks. But I do like the boss battles. I like the challenge. The AI is impressive. I will give it that. But, I mean, Halo AI has always been pretty good, and I've seen other games do impressive AI, so I wouldn't say that's entirely new. The weapons are pretty good. I thought that the majority of weapons I loved using. There were maybe only 2 weapons I didn't care for. Like this, for the example, I do like the spike gun, that's pretty cool, but that little pistol that, like, you shock dudes with, take off their shields, I didn't really care for that. It felt very much like a little pea shooter. The pistol, though, the Magnum, whatever it is, was pretty cool. I did like using that. It felt nice and powerful, but at the same time, it didn't feel too powerful. But it was very solid shooter, very fun. Love its playground-esque open world. Love that stuff. I love that you can explore using the grappling hook to the best of your ability. But it's going to be the only ability. You will still enjoy the campaign, but know that there are parts that are 50-50. Some are going to work, some are not going to work. A lot of the story is not in the game. You have to read frickin' books, and I hate that aspect of these games. They still just kind of throw you in there without knowing much. It's like a big leap from what even happened in the last game, even though I don't give a crap about the last game. Then there's plot points that I don't feel like are new or entirely work or typical of things I've already seen before. And I'm not saying Halo does it worse, but I'm saying Halo just doesn't, like, do anything I haven't seen. And knowing that my friends haven't experienced as much of this kind of stuff in their games or movies or whatever, they're probably going to be a lot more forgiving because of that perspective. But I don't think it's always a good perspective because it doesn't help to move these games forward, to progress them in a way that is beneficial to how they go. Gameplay is king overall, but goddamn, can you do other things well? But yeah, I enjoyed it fair enough. Yeah. So my final rating, once again, I'm sorry for this video. I know it's not Halo Infinite. I'm definitely sorry, but you can watch my Halo Infinite videos. I'm going to put them in the playlist. They have no ads that play, and I hope you enjoyed those. And I'm going to give this a rating, my personal rating, of a 7.1 out of 10. I think a realistic rating, or a more critic side point of view rating, is a 7.4 out of 10. And I think a recommendation rating for other players is a 7 out of 10. But I can see them wanting to probably do the funny number of 6.9, you know, 69. Am I right, boys? I'm just kidding. Had to get that cheeky last bit. But no, that I don't hate this game, but coming back to it, it'll probably get an 8 out of 10 once it gets those other modes. But the fact that this has the same exact problem that we've had with No Man's Sky and Sea of Thieves and such, and that it's not doing a whole lot that's wowing me entirely, is just telling me that, like, there's been too many games like this lately, and I'm getting sick of it. I'm getting really sick of it. Like, this happens way too frequently. Even though I've been playing Fallout 76 recently, I still will never forget how terrible that frickin' game was when it started. Like, that, I still hate on that game. But I do enjoy it more now, and I'm glad that there is effort put into it, but it doesn't raise my rating too much more of that game. I'm not going to call it perfect. Matter of fact, it's not better than the other Fallouts. It's the same situation here. This Halo is not better than the other Halos, unless it's 5. But yeah, it's just like, maybe it'll be better than maybe another couple Halos, but not than the original 3 Halos. And not then, because where those Halos work, because Halo 3, for example, I actually think that story bits are weak. Like, I freaking hate how they killed off Sergeant Johnson and such, and made him look weak. That was really dumb. And there wasn't much development between Arbiter and Master Chief. But other than, like, for them to suddenly be bros by the end, it's like, what? It's dumb. That's sudden. The thing that I liked, though, is there were a lot of cool set pieces. There's a lot of memorable lines and situations that happen in Halo 3, so I can say that the cutscenes leave impact, where in Halo Infinite, I don't remember a single line of dialogue or anything. And, like, there's no iconic lines, there's nothing that pops out to me in the same way. Halo 3 has great level design. I do really love its level design. That's another thing that stands out to me, where Halo Infinite, it kind of blends together and I don't entirely remember it that much. And I do remember the story of Halo 3, even if it's not always that great. And then the multiplayer, like Halo 3's multiplayer, as well as even other Halos, are the standard of Halo multiplayer when you look to it. By the way, Halo multiplayer on the consoles, Halo 3, 4, Reach, and what was the other one? I forgot. But those games are getting their multiplayer shut down on the 360 console, by the way. So keep that in mind. That's sad. And I do know there are still people who like to rely on the older consoles, and I understand that. I've seen that with PlayStation 3. There was actually a video going over people who are still playing on PlayStation 3. They're like Call of Duty games and such. And yeah, that stuff sucks. Like, that's sad. But yeah, that's my final words of Halo 3. Start up a new game, actually. I'll probably just play this on my own time. So that's pretty much everything I have to say about Halo Infinite. I said Halo 3 before. See, I knew I was going to mess up my words. And yeah, like, I hope that they can learn from this experience to make a even better, like, a 10 out of 10 Halo for the future. They are getting close, but still no cigar, if you know what I mean. They still need that little edge to push them a little further. They needed to use Atriox in this game. They left it off on a cliffhanger, so the story's not even complete or doesn't feel satisfying entirely. And it's just got a lot of the typical moments we've seen from movies and crap. So, yeah. That's all I'm going to say. I don't think this is a bad game, but I don't think it's amazing either. So, I'm going to leave it there. Remember to like, share, and subscribe if you did enjoy. Do watch my Halo Infinite videos if you want some actual Halo gameplay. Or maybe you could, to make it easy on me, take the Halo video of mine and play it in the background of this video and me commentating. No, I'm just kidding. But, and then you can have your, like, your Halo gameplay in the background and stuff. Yeah. I hope you enjoyed once again, and I'm sorry if the fricking Monstrum has been a little boring. At least there were a couple of jump scares that we had. That second one did kind of get me, but I kind of like laughed in the face of that one too. So, I'll see you guys next time. Bye!